Leland Live on your radio with guest host April Marie here. You can find me online. I think a couple of y'all will find me on Facebook. I'm not terribly active on Facebook, and I need to switch some things over. But I am active over on X, APRYLMARIE. And for those of you who are followers of 1819 News, I am on the education beat over there. So you can find me most days covering, well, I do a lot of Central Alabama news here and there in between my education stories because a lot of that is deep investigative work. You can find me there on 1819 News. This week, there's been some stuff happening here in Alabama, Central Alabama. Before I get to that, we're going to go back to the phone lines. Linda Lou has been holding a minute. Hey, Linda.
You're gonna hate to hear this.
Oh no.
In my mid-60s now, but back when I was young, I was sort of a criminal. And I had the most gorgeous hair you'd ever seen in your life. It was long and red. I was like the Little Mermaid.
Oh, nice.
So my boyfriend at that time, we'd been together for years, told me we were at the airport where I'd taken him to go to Alaska. And he said, if you have your hair, I was like, I want to have my hair trimmed and cut because it was so long. And he's like, if you cut your hair, I'm splitting up with
Oh
you.
no, not one of those.
So being the rebel that I was, I went to the beautician. Even her boyfriend came in and he was like, what are you doing to her hair? I had my hair cut in a mullet.
Oh no,
I had
you
it
didn't.
shaved on the sides, and I sent it to him. I used to send him care packages. I sent it to him in a grocery sack
Oh my
full
goodness.
of hair instead of the care packages he used to get. Then he called me. He's like, pick me up at the airport. It's like, I'm not picking you up anywhere. I thought you told me it was over. If I had my haircut, did you get my care package?
That was you
He's
breaking
like,
up with him. That was your Dear John letter.
yeah. I'm like,
That's fantastic. Now, how long did it take you to grow that back out? And did you cut it like did
oh,
you fix
it took a long time. I had to have my mullet cut off and my
Oh,
hair trimmed
yep.
on the top, and it took years for
Oh
it to
my
get
god.
right again.
I,
But it was worth it. I'm not with him,
yeah.
obviously.
Yeah. That is too funny. I'll tell you what.
It's
I
just,
feel like that's a rite of passage in every woman's life. Like every single woman has done that at some point in her life. The oh really, haircut or the breakup haircut. That's
yeah.
those are
Like,
fighting
how
words
dare
there.
you tell me how I'm allowed to manage my hair?
That's too funny. Well, I
And
have
anyway,
heard of that happening before, Linda Lou, and love it. Okay, that's a mullet under acceptable circumstances. Although, like I said, the grow out is a monster.
I hated to say it, but it was the worst mullet I ever had. I hated my hair during that time. Even my brother, who was so conservative, said, you're not allowed to come over to my house
Oh my gosh,
with
that's
your hair
crazy.
looking like that. I was like, are you for real?
That's funny. I have a like a I can't the words escape me, but there's a gas station I go to where I have my car, oil, car service and all that stuff. And there's a young man there with a mullet, and he's fantastic. But it's funny because I always give him grief about it, and his colleagues do too. He actually pulls it off, but there are not many people who can. Billy Ray Cyrus is not one of those who could.
Did you ever know people that told you they wouldn't have any? There's people who, when I had my hair cut like that, there were people, including my brother, that wouldn't have anything to do with me
That's crazy.
as long as my hair was that way.
No, I have never heard that before, but which is a little silly, but to each their own, I
I'm
suppose.
from Louisiana,
Got
so
it.
yeah,
Well,
gotcha.
thanks for calling in, darling. Glad you're
Love
listening.
you.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right, bye bye. Yeah, I think every woman has done that at some point. Did you just dare me what I could or could not do with my hair? I have my hair it was pretty much the same all my life, long about as long as it is now. long and dark. I stopped coloring it a couple years ago, and so now it's got all the gray in it, which I really like. And my friend Grady, I will tell you, I was really uncertain about the letting the gray grow out, and probably would have dyed it a couple times if not for my darling friend who really encouraged me. Actually, as a matter of fact, encourages me in a lot of ways in life, and is a great listener. So hi, Grady, if you're listening. But yes, I think feel like we've all been there. The either breakup haircut or the did you just tell me what I could or couldn't do, and then you do something drastic there. Okay, I was talking earlier. Let's see what we have covered here today. We've covered a lot of the elections, just because it's my first show back since the elections, and I have very strong opinions about what happened in those runoffs. Pretty much all of the candidates across the board. Brian Dawson and I have talked about this quite a bit. We had good candidates. We had candidates who were going to be strong conservatives across the board, and I love that for the Republican ticket. It was a matter of some nuances of how they'd serve or the way they presented themselves. I'm very happy with the candidates we have that we are moving forward to the general election. Somebody called in and mentioned Doug Jones earlier. Doug Jones had the opportunity to be a blue dog Democrat. I don't even know that they have those anymore. Can you think of a good example of a Democrat who hasn't fallen off into the leftist woke craziness? There used to be, and I say used to be, it wasn't that long ago, in the South, you could find these Democrats. I think what happens is they just all came over to the Republican Party, and now they're over here holding seats, even with R's behind their names, even though they're actually Democrats. Kay Ivey is a great example of that. Kay Ivey is still not and has never been a truly conservative, especially on the social issues, especially as we have had to fight woke. She's gone along with it. She signed the bills, but she was never a strong advocate for the kind of policy making that we have wanted to see in the state. And she has not. She's not been an outspoken champion, the kind of champion I think we're going to get in Tommy Tuberville. But Doug Jones has been saying, he'll go out there and his campaigns will insinuate he's going to be this middle of the road Democrat, but he has a record. We know what that record is. He goes out there and tells the Democrats one thing, and then in public on his commercials or where he can, he's acting as if he's going to be middle of the road. He's not. He's going to be just as wackadoodle as a lot of those leftists are, the ones who can't define what a woman is, the ones who have no intention of protecting our kids from some of the leftist garbage that they want to put into our libraries or our schools. Somebody who's going to really just take our state and take what we hate about other states, what we see in New York, what we see in California. That's what he wants to do here. Speaking of New York, our lieutenant governor candidate for the Democrats, he is from New York. He's a New York transplant in Montgomery, got elected to the state legislature, announced he was taking a job and moving back to New York, only to turn around and then file for lieutenant governor. So that is who John Wall is going to be up against during that. A lot of things happening today on the national scene. We heard a little bit from President Trump a little later. I've got a caller on the line who wants to talk about Iran. I'm looking at the time. We're going to go to him. We can push the commercial for just a second. Barry, what do you got?
So it's very good. You're doing a good job taking in for Leland today. But I wanted to speak about the Iran deal.
Yeah.
Because it's a terrible deal. So I've supported President Trump every time I could, in every way I can. I'm a devout conservative. I don't play conservative, I am. I represent the ideal of freedom, liberty, and what's best for America. And I take that to heart. But I take this deal as garbage.
You and a lot of conservatives.
What is that?
I said you and a lot of conservatives, actually.
Well, you have to. This is the worst deal that I've ever seen President Trump make. So you tell me we go in last June and we use the most sophisticated weapons in the world. We showed the world the capability of the United States. We did it with precision, with grace, technology. And we sent the signal to Iran that we meant business. And I'd be damned if we went retro stupid. So you tell me We went there in June. We should have bombed them into submission. We should have aspirated them because that's what they respect. They don't respect nothing else. You can't make a deal with the devil. So you tell me you bomb their leaders, you do everything you can do. You have Israel at their peak. They're bombing our bases. They've killed American soldiers. They have no respect for us. And yet we make a deal like we made. We give them 60 more days. So if we kept bombing them and never let go, they would have been forced to come to the table earlier. Because when you're getting your butt whipped, you have to acquiesce. It makes no sense to me for us to have the most sophisticated military in the world, the brightest minds in the world, and somebody got a Democrat involved somewhere. Somebody got a rhino Republican somewhere involved, and they got to President Trump. I don't know what happened, but it makes no sense to me. They had Marco Rubio on the sideline. He should have been permanently involved. You will never make a deal with Iran. Never. If you kill me, if you're trying to kill me, my daughter, they mean business. So what happened?
Yeah.
Somebody made a deal that was political. And somebody thought about the midterms. Well, let's go back to June. That was a year ago. We had 6 months to take care of this business and not let no one get in the way of it. And if we'd done this like we should have gone in and aspirated their military as we did. We should have taken over Carg Island. We should have taken over the Strait. Then finish business. You cannot tell me President Trump doesn't understand this.
Barry,
he talks the talk.
I hear you. Okay, we got to take a quick break. Back when we come back, I'll get into some of this news coverage of Iran. Thanks for the call, Barry. You guys hold tight. We will be back in just a minute. You're listening to Leland Live with April Marie. Well, good afternoon, everyone. I guess it's good evening now. 5:23 as everybody is on their way home. You guys be safe out there on those roadways. Man, all this rain. Glad we got a little bit of a reprieve from it. But I'm looking at all of the flooding expected and all of the just weather. You guys stay safe out there. Really frustrating. I, of course, for those who don't know, I live in Birmingham proper. The city did a bunch of sewer upgrades and drainage and upgrades on in my neighborhood, and sure enough, it flooded last night. It did not work. The very recent tons of spending, that was a no go. So it'll be interesting to see how they address that moving forward. But yeah, it is dark and rainy out there, or dark, but not raining where we are. But you guys keep an eye out on that. Are going to be more thunderstorms as I pull it up. It's going to be more thunderstorms this evening. Okay, let's see what we've got going on. We last caller was talking about Iran and the deal there. He is not the only one ticked off. A lot of people critical of this deal, but on the other hand, we've got Alabama lawmakers starting to weighing in on this. We've got Senator Britt and out there supporting the deal, saying there's no one better at making a deal than POTUS. I appreciate this administration's efforts to hold the Iranian regime accountable and ensure they can never obtain a nuclear weapon. We've got on the House side, Robert Adderholt saying, I'm thankful to hear that the United States and Iran have reached an agreement. The deal will reopen the strait and require Iran to give up its nuclear program. Unlike the agreement reached under the Obama administration, this deal will not allow them to continue enriching uranium and building up the components necessary to build that weapon. A lot of people saying this is going to be a wait and see. We waited decades for this, and now we've got 60 days to give peace a chance, and we'll see. We'll see how this works and how it goes over there. And so, a lot of people skeptical of this. We'll keep an eye out, and of course, cover it on Monday. I'm looking right now. Trump had an event today to talk about the new Air Force One, which he says will be doing a flyover on 4th of July on Independence Day. So it will. He unveiled that and then did a press conference today. Again, I appreciate, and I am not. I remember, was it this Christmas or last Christmas, AJ? You and I having you baiting me into a conversation that made everybody think I hated Trump. I feel like every holiday that I fill in, Trump tweets out something apt or puts on social.
I don't think I did that. I forgot what it was, but it was something else.
It was I feel like it was one of those times where Trump tweeted something and then I was like, give me a break, like stop with the mean tweets. And here's the thing. I can love Trump's policies and his appointments and what his administration is doing and still every now and again go, yeah, I probably shouldn't have said that or done that. Like what is today's scandal? Today's air quotes scandal is over him saying the Italian PM begged for a photo and now she's canceling. They're having a trip canceled because of it. Like, for the love of all that's holy, when we're trying to, do important things, peace deals and important economic deals, for the love, can you just not like poke and goad people? So that's today's and the latest is a rift between Donald Trump and the Italian Prime Minister after Trump said that she begged for a photo. Now there is an official response. Donald Trump's statements are completely made up. I'm frankly astonished. I don't know why the President of the United States behaves like this towards his allies. It's not the first time, moreover. And so I guess what happened is Trump went on, did an interview on an Italian news network and just said that the prime minister begged him to take a photo. And here's the thing is Trump does a lot of hyperbole. He really does. It's like the big fish story. You can watch him if you watch Donald Trump catch a fish. The fish is going to get bigger every time he tells you about the fish, even if you've seen him catch it. That's like him in real life. He just talks that way, and it frustrates me when we end up in situations where it's like, oh, but did you have to say that? Did you like this for the love of all that's holy? And again, at a time there's a picture of there's on Fox News. There's a copy of the picture there that got him into trouble. But I'm over here thinking of as we watch what's happening in Iran, while we watch Europeans all over the world, or Europeans and people all over the world come to the United States for soccer. Like, do we need to be having public spats with the heads of states of other countries? Because I don't particularly think we do. But that's what's going on in today's news. When we come back, I want to get into, and I mentioned it at the beginning of the show, and then didn't bring it up, but here just locally in Central Alabama, there's a couple scandals of brewing that going to talk about. I want to talk a little bit about what's going on at the Wandel and Gavon race, and a little bit about the probate judge who found herself in trouble. Won't belabor the stories, but getting back to those in just a few minutes. Well, good evening. April Marie here, filling in for Leland. I'll be filling in all next week and part of the week after that. Much to the chagrin of some of you, I just got, and I was going to go into some of the local stuff. AJ, I just got the longest email I've ever gotten from a listener. Like I just like scrolled. It was just kept going and going and going. The listener is a Democrat who occasionally listens to 99.5 for an alternative. I'm paraphrasing here what I skimmed during that commercial break. Occasionally listens to 99.5 for an alternative viewpoint, and it upset him that I said that the Democrats don't stand a chance in the general elections. Let me explain to you, in case you've been hiding in a hole somewhere, why Democrats don't stand a chance in Alabama. It's because they don't share our values. And not only do they not share the values, okay, that protection of life, the sanctity of life, some very easy stuff. Let's support the Second Amendment. Let's support the First Amendment for that matter. Just watching Democrats these days, it is incredibly, and I'll say for the party, I wish we had more blue dogs. I wish we had people who talked common sense. I wish we had Democrats who were out there saying, Gavin Newsom doesn't speak for me. Mondami in New York doesn't speak for me. Those who are out there who can't define a man or a woman don't speak for me. The Democrats who are out there saying we just need to open up our jails and our borders, they don't speak for me. But that's not what we have Democrats doing in across the country or in this state. When they start making sense again, then maybe they have a chance. When they start saying, no, I don't agree with that. No, we should not elect somebody who has a Nazi tattoo on his chest and has ex-girlfriends climbing out of the woodwork saying he abused them just because he has a D behind his name. When Republicans thought, now earlier I mentioned that Roy Moore had won a defamation case against someone who did a commercial and painted him as a pedophile. But when Republicans in this state thought that Roy Moore, was possibly doing things that he was being accused of doing, later, again, found as defamation. But when Republicans thought that, they didn't elect him, they elected Doug Jones. Yet on the Democrat side, they will elect whatever wacko dodo bird gets put on the ballot because they don't care. They don't care. This is how you get socialists elected. This is how you look at in Virginia, you've got a governor who has just gone crazy with policies there. Don't get me started with her anti-Second Amendment positions. So when I say Democrats can't get elected in Alabama, it's because the voters know and they care that the Democrat platform is so contrary to common freaking sense. So yes, I appreciate, and by the way, for those who don't know, if you go to 1819 News and click on any story written by me or anybody at 1819 News, you're going to get their email address. So you can send me emails, and especially since I don't have the text line open. But I will stand by that statement all day, every day, twice on Sunday, especially if we're talking about whether or not we're going to put pornographic books back in the children's sections of library, which is what Doug Jones says is a priority of his. Give me a break. Who wants this? Who's out there asking for this? I saw a post about Alabama's economy and how businesses are starting to come, and not just to Alabama, but southern states in general that have become more business friendly. And Tuberville has said that's going to be one of his priorities. I think when you look at what's going to change from a Governor Ivey administration to a Governor Tuberville administration, should Tuberville beat Doug Jones, which again, you can just look at the voter numbers and say, okay, we're leaning R here. But he's going to prioritize economic development. He said that. He said he's going to seek to bring new businesses in. I'm watching, just because I keep an eye on the news for Second Amendment issues, I'm watching gun companies flee northern states and come to the South. I think we can get a cut of that. I think because of Space Command coming to Huntsville, I think we're going to see more defense contractors, more science and technology centered stuff. We've got right here in our backyard, we've got businesses coming to Birmingham. We're seeing businesses come to Hoover. There is a lot of growth, and that is based on Republicans prioritizing the things that should be prioritized, as opposed to the Democrats going way off crazy as a party on these social issues. When you look around at corporations this month and compare it to even 3 or 4 years ago, when they were going all in on the Pride Month stuff and they were going all in on the transgender kids stuff, we have turned a corner in this country. So when I say nearly definitively that I feel really good about Republicans' chances in the state of Alabama, it's because of that. It's not because I have my head in the sand and I'm going to march down any route that Republicans take me. It's because I can see the danger in what the Democrats have done. Look at our campuses. I mentioned earlier that I cover education news for 1819. Our college campuses, where you've got professors, you've got deans, you've got this progressive agenda that has people hating our nation. One thing that's really opened my eyes is watching people go on these college campuses and during after Charlie Kirk's assassination, following watching people go on these campuses, and these kids have this brain rot to hate our country, to dislike our nation, to not understand and appreciate our freedoms. And you say, how did it get this way? It's leftist. It's not. It's literally this progressive agenda. And so, yeah, feeling pretty good about that. There's my rant in response to you gave me a very long email. I give you a very long rant back. That's what's happening here. I mentioned, and I'm going to get back into some local stuff. We'll do a little bit of local stuff. I know you guys really like the state and the national, but some of the local stuff is important. I wrote a story on if you haven't been following, there were 2 suicides in Birmingham jails within the last week. And Mayor Woodfin did a post about that. And I just want to encourage you guys. We have got to do something in our country about mental health care. I'm a big advocate for this. I've done a lot. I actually used to lobby. My one time as a registered lobbyist was for nonprofit mental health care centers in Florida. We have done something where when we closed institutions and we started ceding that issue to Democrats. And we started saying that's a Democrat issue that goes with the social services. We've done ourselves a great disservice in that, and so we have, and you can see it again and again and again on the national news. We have individuals with severe and persistent mental illness who just get returned to the street, and we've hit a tipping point in the central Alabama region of this state where we have had 2 deaths, 2 suicides in the jail within 1 week. And I looked at that, and it's incredibly heartbreaking. It's incredibly heartbreaking for families. But then I went in, and you look at the criminal charges that these individuals have faced. There have been a cry for help, indecent exposure right here in Homewood, Alabama, by one of these individuals. There have been cries for help, and there's been no one to help them. And then I teamed that with, I went and I did several stories, I believe, on Judge Sheba Blanchard, who was removed from the bench, suspended from the bench. And one of the things she was suspended for was not holding timely hearings of involuntary commitments. So we have a limited number of crisis beds, limited number of crisis spots, and we've got judges who are canceling court or being late for court to walk their dogs. That's the accusation. We've got judges who are just canceling court to travel. We've got a judge accused of really not prioritizing this very important thing. And I think a big part of this, and where I want to go with this, is that we are not taking the election of judges seriously. I actually just covered a judge's race in Shelby County. It was 2 Republicans. It was a runoff in Shelby County. We need to take these judge seats and these judge races as seriously as we take these statewide races, because they matter. They matter in your backyards. They matter in your towns. they matter. This is literally life and death happening here, and we're not paying attention because they just don't get they don't get news coverage, and we don't talk about them. So shining a light on that today. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, maybe I'll wrap up the show and talk about what we're going to do coming back next week. You guys hold tight. April Marie filling in for Leland. Well, good evening, everyone. April Marie here. You know the days that I end up like over preparing, where I've got like 15 topics I want to get to, different things. Those are the days that I end up totally off script. I wanted to get to, and may get to it next week. The SCOTUS ruling. Did you guys? I don't know if you guys follow SCOTUS. I love the decisions coming out of the Supreme Court. One of the big ones this week was a ruling related to marijuana and firearms, and whether or not you can keep your Second Amendment rights if you do partake in the wacky tobacco. And the Supreme Court says, yeah, that does not infringe upon your rights. Like you can still exercise your Second Amendment rights. So a big one there. When we come back next week, like I mentioned, I'm going to have some guests in studio with me, some of the candidates that won in this week's election. Just talk to them about going into the general election. What are they seeing? What are they hearing? What are they feeling? It was a brutal primary runoff. It was a brutal primary and a brutal runoff. I've not lived through a cycle where so many races were so negative, and that U.S. Senate race, the lieutenant governor's race. Although I will say the lieutenant governor's race did strike a little different because it was like actually both the attorney general and lieutenant governor. It was kind of one-sided meanness. Like in the attorney general's race, we had Jay Mitchell screaming his head off about Catherine Robertson's out-of-state support, even though that support came from people who would know who would do a good job in that role, which is why I think a big part of why she won. And then in the lieutenant governor's race, a lot of it was one-sided with Wes Allen going after John Wall for his legal name being Nehemiah. Not really positive how that was supposed to be a deterrent. And then a few other what I would consider ridiculous attacks. That U.S. Senate seat race was brutal. I think both of those guys are great guys. I think you couldn't have gone wrong with either of them. Of course, Barry Moore won that race. And what I'm really hoping for is that as we move forward towards the general elections, and you know, not taking anything for granted, everybody comes together and remembers who we are fighting and what we are fighting for. I really want to next week, as we lead into not just Independence Day, but 250 and the celebration of everything that is great in our nation. I really want to talk about some of those things. I was listening to Leland yesterday. We don't talk enough about what a great country we have. I mentioned the X account of Freddie, which, by the way, Jeff Poor, one of he's so grumpy and curmudgeon, whatever. Adore him. He is like, I'm so over Freddie. But what Freddie represents with these people coming into the United States and just falling in love with our country and really getting to see how we're represented in the media from wherever they're from, and how we're represented, in media, how different that is from real life. We live in a great nation. We live in a beautiful nation. We live in a nation where most everybody, regardless of politics and how they voted or who they're going to vote for next week, we are genuinely kind to one another. Even, if I say this a lot, I have a lot of friends who are Democrats we joke about canceling out one another's votes. But we understand that we want what's best for this nation, and that goes way beyond partisan politics. There are things that we can agree on. We want children to have a great education. We can agree on we want safe communities and roads. And so it's been really fun watching the World Cup. And actually, it's funny because Fox News has got a mashup of the best of Freddie tweets on his up on the screen right now. It's really been fun watching people fall in love with this great country of ours. And I'm hoping as we lead into 250, as we celebrate this great state and this great nation, that over the next week and a half, I will spend a little bit of time each of those shows. Today, I spent a lot of time on Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. But starting next week, I want to really look at 4th of July and Independence Day and some of the things we can and should be doing as a nation to make it stronger. All right, AJ, you got any big plans for the weekend?
Uh,
Father's Day, hopefully he'll get some rest.
Oh gosh,
And some
sorry. I was
relaxation.
about to say something, then my spit went down the wrong pipe. Hopefully if the weather holds up, I can at least try to cut my grass. So doing
There.
father duties.
I was going to say that is
there.
a father duty.
I do have an event I have to host tomorrow evening, and so get ready for that. I gotta find a nice little cool suit pants combo.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, I gotta step my game up.
Well, we didn't get many recommendations for Father's Day gifts, so I'm back.
Nobody thinks about fathers like that.
I'm still back at the drawing board for.
Even if you do, Dad's got to pay for it anyway.
Okay, I'm gonna tell y'all on Monday what we end up doing because we'll do something. I don't know what it's gonna be. All right, take care. Have a great weekend. Till next time.
Stay tuned for Breaking Bread coming up next. Hey, April Marie, it's always a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you, love.
Yes, the most guest host person on the station.
Yes.
Yes.
Everyone's favorite substitute teacher.
Yeah, I used to give that to Yaffe, but now it's you.
Now it's me.
Yes.
Love to be here.
Goodbye, AJ.